Welcome to Bharat FM special news interview. I'm Mayank Chaya. China's territorial intrusions into India, while at least a 6 decades long continuing series, have in recent weeks acquired a dramatic new edge, with news reports accompanied with satellite images showing a 100-home village coming up inside the Indian northeastern state of Arunachal Pradesh. One Indian lawmaker who not only has a direct stake in the intrusions, but has also been strongly speaking out against them, is Member of Parliament from Arunachal Pradesh Tapir Gao, who happens to be a member of the ruling Bharatiya Janata Party, or the BJP. Mr. Gao has been strongly advocating that India take a comprehensive view of these incursions along the country's nearly 3,500 kilometers long border with China. He has also been warning of a repeat of China's 2017 intrusion into a remote stretch of the Himalayas claimed by both China and India's neighboring Bhutan. The intrusions into the stretch called Doklam led to a 73-day standoff between Indian and Chinese troops. Mr. Gao spoke to Bharat FM in this special news interview from his New Delhi home. Welcome to Bharat FM, Mr. Gao. It's a pleasure to have you on.
Nice meeting. Thank you very much.
Likewise. My interest in the conversation is predominantly on the basis of what you have been pointing out for quite some time, namely the territorial intrusions by China in Arunachal Pradesh.
Yeah.
You have recently hit the headlines for your rather startling claim that they built a 100-home village within the Indian territory, and you have said that it's something that is nothing new. China has been doing it for quite some time. So give us a perspective on what is going on there and how deep inside the Indian territory the village is.
Actually, this issue has been recently highlighted by the NDTV televisions, and they have observed and located the more than 100 houses, villages under Indian territory. But the issue is this location is in the Subansiri district of Arunachal Pradesh. There is a big river, and in 1962, India lost war in Tawang and Walong. But this is the only valley where our soldiers has defeated the Indian PLA, and they have to go back during the war. Anyway, this area is Lenci Valley. The name of the river is Lenci River, one of the tributaries of Subansiri River, one of the major river in Arunachal Pradesh. And this, in the valley of Lenci, Longju was the first India and China bullet fire each other in 1959. The name of that outpost on the Mekong line is Longju.
Mm-hmm.
And Longju, after that incident, Jawaharlal Nehru, the then Prime Minister of India, went to China to negotiate the issue, and he brought a slogan, Hindi Sini Bye Bye. After that, we faced the 1962 war. At Longju, Assam Rifle were deputed and posted there, but in 1962, the PLA ran over the Assam Rifle, and all the Assam Rifle posted on Longju, on the Mekong line, has been all killed by the Chinese PLA.
Mm-hmm.
After 1962, they occupied, below Longju, there is a place called Bisa.
Right.
And below Bisa, there is called Maja.
Yeah.
Then the Lenci River join the Subansiri main river. Since 1962, these Chinese PLA or administrations, they have constructed mini hydels, their PLA infrastructure, rectangular buildings, and they have established lot of establishment. Now the issue, the recently the village is coming up as per the satellite pictures drawn by NDTV journalists, and it's a great concern for whole of the country and whole of the world also. China have the policy of expansions, and they are expanding not only in Indian territory. They have got problem with Myanmar. They have got problem with Thailand, Vietnam's, and Mongolia, except Pakistan. So this is an issue in front of the world. They want to establish and they want to show that we are the first occupant of this area. So it's a great concern. So this issue has been highlighted and throughout the state and in the country. We are protesting through the networks and protesting through the gentlemen like Mayank Saya, who have got concern for the country. So I'm happy that I could interact with you. So I would like to go back to the history also. After 1962, Nehru, we have to, from the record, the subsequent Congress Prime Minister from Jawaharlal Nehru, then Indiraji, then Rajivji, then Narasimha Rao, then till Manmohan Singh, in particular to Arunachal Pradesh, in 1985, 84, 85, in Tawang, the Sundrungshu Valley has been occupied by the PLA. The then defense chief, Krishna Swami Sundarji, planned an operation to plus back the PLA from Tawang Sundrungshu Valley, but Rajivji has denied for the operation Pelkon, which was planned by the chief of the army in those days. Rather, Rajivji preferred to visit Beijing and he came back empty-handed. That is the first, after 62, first major Chinese occupations of huge area. Since then, this area, Longju area in Upper Subansiri districts, where this village is coming up, and in Dibang Valley also, they are patrolling very much inside in Indian territory, in Andrela Valley. You might have seen Anini. From Anini extreme north, that is Andrela Valley. So regularly they are patrolling inside our territory. And in the eastern corner, Anjo district, in Saglagam, they are patrolling regularly and they have got establishments also. Beyond Saglagam, within 25 kilometers, they are regularly patrolling in Saglagam also. So this is an issue which we inherit from subsequent Congress prime ministers, and major issue goes to Jawaharlal Nehru ji. When Nehru ji was the prime minister, when Aksai Chin and Arunachal Pradesh was in all places has been occupied by the PLA, Nehru delivered a lecture in the parliament. Not even a blade of grass grows in those areas. Then one honorable member of parliament from UP questioned him that I'm a balded head. Shall I cut my head? Mahavir, the then MP from UP.
Yes.
So these are the issues that we are facing today. And in 1962, October 20, so Moto, without informing the defense and without informing the defense minister Menon and the army chiefs, he addressed the nations that my heart goes to the people of Assam. Then or there where entire northeast state of India was Assam. Then he addressed the nation that my heart goes to the people of Assam. And he surrendered everything to the Chinese in those days. Since then, the government of India have got no comprehensive policy during Congress days so that we can counter them on the border. This McMahon line, Mayank, hope you have got deep knowledge about it. 1914, the then British Foreign Secretary Henry McMahon and His Holiness Dalai Lama's representative Paljar Dorji Sarah had a convention agreement in Shimla, and the McMahon line has been defined in such a nice way. Still, it exists. In 1914, I hope not even a single PLA and Chinese were there in Tibet. So convention agreement has been done in Shimla. It has been clearly defined that from the high ridge of the mountain on watershed policy. The high risks still exist, and the watershed policies, the water that goes towards Tibet belongs to Tibet, and the water flows towards India. It's Indian territory. It has been defined, and still we should claim the McMahon is the boundary between Tibet and India. And still, I can claim, we all, the India should claim that McMahon is the boundary between Tibet and India. We don't have and had any Chinese in those days. And this McMahon line is inherited from the British. So we can't deny on it. Nobody should deny on it. This is what our concern today, sir.
Yeah, thank you for that elaborate explanation. I have a bit of an issue with your party's almost reflexive position on anything concerning China, or
Yeah.
for that matter, many other international and domestic issues. You keep harping on Jawaharlal Nehru's failure. It's been 60 years. Your party has had two full governments. You've been in power since 2014. It's 7 years now. The idea that you can keep dumping it on Nehru is, to me, seems rather laughable, isn't it? Yeah.
So that is the best question that I expect from you. Now, the difference between the Congress regime and Modi regime, I'll tell you with very practical issues. During Congress days, I think you might have been to Tawang.
No, I haven't.
So you deserve. Now, when Bhutan Singh was the Home Minister, Government of India during Congress regime, they have decided that no road should be connected to the McMahon line. 200 to 300 kilometers should be left no man's land. So during Congress regime, they have constructed the road up to Tawang, and they have constructed the road up to Sepa, the district headquarters. In those days, 5 districts were there. And they have constructed road to Elong and Yingkiong and Anini and Walong. That is the road they have constructed, and they have not constructed any road ahead of all the district headquarters. Now, P.K. Tungon, still he is alive. He was the first Chief Minister of Arunachal Pradesh. So, under CPWD, he has started construction of road from Tawang to Lumla, more than 30 kilometers. And the Chief Commissioner of those days, along with the Chief Minister, first Chief Minister P.K. Tungon, Bhuta Singh has scolded him like anything, why you are constructing road towards the border. It's very sensitive. So this is the difference. Now, today, after Modi, no, before that, when Atal Bihari Vajpayee came to power, Advaniji and Vajpayee introduced the border area development plan. So the border people should not migrate towards the district and the lower belt. The border people should be resettled there. They should be engaged there. So border area development fund has been started by Vajpayee's regime. And during Modi's regime, there were 7 advanced landing ground in Arunachal Pradesh. After Modi came to power, all the 7 advanced landing ground has been restored, and now Sukhoi fighters, all fighter aircrafts, they are landing in border area, advanced landing grounds. This is number 1. Number 2, right from Assam to the border, from Tezpur to Tawang, 2 lane is almost finished. And from Itanagar to Subansiri, and to that particular area where 101 houses are being constructed, that is the area of Daporizo, up to Limiking, Taksing, Limiking, the road is coming up now, and that is also 2 lane. And from Silapatar, opposite to Dibrugarh, from Silapatar to Basar, Elong, Kaing, Tato, Besuka, 2 lane road is coming up now. And from Pasigat, my home district, home town, from Pasigat to Yingkiong, 2 lane has been completed. From Yingkiong to Biging, now tender has been finished and work is going on. From there up to Tuting, and from Rowing to Anini is going to be finished, and from Teju to Walong is under construction, and all the east-west road also has been almost east-west corridor highway road is also going to be finished within 2-3 years. So, sir, this is the difference. Why Congress government in those days preferred to keep 200-300 kilometers from the McMahon line as a no-man land. So we can blame our army, paramilitary. They can carry ammunition, they can carry rations, all their uniform together. So this is the difference. Modi has taken, and our BJP government has taken up very serious issues, and the progress is in the eyes of the people of the country in context of Arunachal Pradesh.
Fair enough. I see your point. Here is my last point about that particular history. I'm not going to dwell on it because it doesn't get us anywhere. I think oftentimes people forget that Nehru's era, for instance, was barely within 15 years of India having been impoverished for nearly 200 years. It wasn't a country that could take on the might of anything at that point. So the idea
Yeah.
that you're comparing the current status with what happened nearly 60 years ago, it to me, I just it just doesn't cut it for me. So let's not dwell on that. I see your point. In your assessment, Nehru messed up big time. He should never be forgiven. I understand all of that. Let's come
Yeah.
to what is happening now. I mean,
Yeah.
we did see what happened in Ladakh, which has been described as big a blunder as what the BJP has been blaming the Congress party for. So I want your specific take on. You've been warning for quite some time that there is another Doklam waiting to be happening. Is
Yeah.
this what is going on in Arunachal Pradesh now?
Situation is not that settled now. So the progress is on, in particular to that Lenchi Valley in Upper Subansiri district. You can see in the Google map that they have constructed two-lane barimas inside Indian territory. And this particular village is coming up just in between Longju and Bisha. And they have constructed two-lane road from Longju to Maja and beyond that also. And this is a great concern that government of India, we should engage, bilateral engagements should be there with the Jinping. And on the other hand, the government of India must have a comprehensive policy towards the Indo-China border, because in the Ladakh region also, I have been to Pangong Lake, Chushul, Taga, and I have had the lunch at Demsoks. And in Uttarakhand, I have visited that Malari and Borahoti Valley where we have got disputes. And I have been to Kalafani, where recently we have got connected by road. So these are all sensitive issues. We are having a neighboring country who have got a policy of expansionist and occupations of the other country's land. This is the policy that the Chinese has adopted. So in context with that, until and unless we settle somewhere and negotiable is settled on the table, so government of India require a comprehensive policy along the Indo-Tibet-China border till we reach a peaceful solution. And we must engage bilateral talks, and we must engage economically, and man-to-man visits and exchange of friendships attitude could resolve this issue. But China is a country, you are so expert in this context, and they can't be trusted by anybody on this planet, I think, till they have got this policy.
Even when you were talking about various names from Arunachal Pradesh,
Yeah.
only those who know the region would be able to identify with what you're saying. Here is my broader question to you. Do you think the fact that there is such a vast cultural difference between those who sit in Delhi and decide policy and Arunachal Pradesh, where half the people wouldn't even be able to locate some of the names that you're talking about? How do you think northeastern states can work together in tandem to make the rest of the country more familiar with that region?
Sir, Modi ji has taken up a policy that no honorable chief minister and chief secretary of Northeast state should come down to Delhi to have appointment with any honorable minister, any department. Every month, all cabinet ministers are rushing towards not only in Arunachal, entire 7 states, now 8 states, including Sikkim. All honorable ministers have got their routines. Modi ji has had the policy that every ministry should go to every state and the matter should be resolved. Developmental activities should be resolved there. This is a model that Modi ji has adopted. So most of the honorable head of the state of Northeast states, they are not coming to Delhi except for rare issues. Almost all the ministers, every 15 days, one minister must be in any one of the states of the Northeast states. So this is the modality that Modi has adopted, and it's really working on the ground. Now,
right.
on this border issue, you are right, of course, because almost most of the officials since independence, they do not know, even in parliament also, Tapirji, your capital is Shillong. They only know Shillong in Bharati. They do not know the capital of some of our colleagues. They do not know the capital of Arunachal, Nagaland, Manipur, Mizoram, Tripura, Meghalaya, Sikkim. So it was the culture that Central Indians policies were just sending there, but no monitoring, no accountabilities were fixed for the development of the northeastern states. If I say the Congress days, then you will say, now it's your turn. So it's our turn. That, sir, you have rightly pointed out that Modi ji have the model that in every 15 days, one union minister should be in any one of the states, and the matter should not be brought to Delhi. That matter, developmental activities should be settled on the ground in the state. This
Right.
modality really working on the ground, sir.
That's good to know. I want to come back a bit to the village that you've been talking about within the Indian territory.
Yeah.
I presume, looking at the photographs, satellite pictures, it's obvious that a lot of it was prefabricated pieces put together. I'm curious, how is it that 100-home village put together using prefabricated pieces, which would have involved a lot of logistical movement along that area, was so completely missed by the Indian intelligence and military establishment?
Saurabh, I can't question the Indian intelligence and military intelligence, but I can tell you one example. We have got in eastern corner, along the tri-junction, Myanmar, Tibet, China, and India, that's called Walong and Kibito. Beyond that, we have got the same Missimi in Luhit Valley of Tibet, China.
Mhm.
Entire dress house, bamboo houses has been converted into RCC and CGI rooftop. You will see on the pictures, not on one village, around 20 villages that we could see through Google. And in the main Brahmaputra's tributary is passing through, that passes from that Sangpo, and when it's entered India, we call it Siang. When it enters Assam, we call Brahmaputra. In that area, we have got the same, my own tribes are also there. Adi, I belongs to Adi tribes. So Adi tribes are on the left bank of the Sangpo. After Great Bend, the inhabitants are from my tribes. So our construction of houses were the same, but within these few years, they have converted it into CGI roof and RCC, and they have got all lands. Now come to this context where more than 100 houses has been constructed. It is a problem for us because we don't have that two-lane kind of roads, all-weather roads. But China has already constructed two-lane road from Longju to this place called Maja, and they don't have the difficulties for carrying out such kind of operations in a few months. So they have got infrastructure, they have got the all-weather roads in spite of heavy snowfall in the Himalayas well. They have got all established everything, especially these two-lane roads. It's very beautiful roads has been already constructed for many years. So they don't have any difficulties to establish such houses. And beyond Tawang also, after Lumla, below Lumla, they have established, this is the Chinese policy, along the border, along the boundaries, they have established huge complex of villages, and in the middle they will have school buildings and religious buildings in the middle of the village. They have the same design right from Myanmar border to Bhutan border.
Right. You know, I'm not able to wrap my head around this whole idea, because if something of this scale is going on, it would have taken at least a couple of years, maybe a year. I know the Chinese build very quickly, but even then, say for the sake of argument, this has been going on for the last 1 year. How is it so completely missed, especially by a government and a party which claims to be robustly muscular and nationalistic in its approach to these issues?
Sir, in the bullet point, I'll tell you the place where this village has come up since 1962. No Indian administrations has entered that area because since 1962, China has occupied that area and that territory, and they have constructed two-lane road beyond that village. Through Google, you can see more than 20-30 kilometers. They have constructed two-lane roads. So no Indian army administrations could reach that place since 1962 because our outpost was Longju. Longju has been overrun by the PLA in 62, and since then they are occupying that area. Whatever the village is coming up, this area is occupied by the PLA since 62.
So that means, for all practical purposes, that territory is gone, right?
Still, I am claiming Megmohan is our border.
Okay. And what is the official position of the government on that?
So I can, in our interactions, I can tell the details about what could be the outcome, but only the issue is, and my request to the government and my government and the country is that India must have a comprehensive policy along the border from Galwan to Walong, the eastern corner to the western corner. We must have a comprehensive policy. Within that comprehensive policy, different policies can be made and add to strengthen the border people and the border areas for the security and integrity of this country.
I'm sure you've noticed that people like P. Chidambaram have lashed on to your campaign, in a sense, to fire the gun at the government. How do you deal with that?
Sir, there is a saying, and in my television interview and interaction also I told, when you finger somebody, your finger, single finger is pointing somebody, 3 fingers are pointing towards you. So P. Chidambaram Tesi Tarur, Rahulji, whatever they are saying, if I start and if we start telling the history from Nehru to Manmohan Singh, everything blame goes to them. But this is not the situation to fight amongst Congress, BJP, and other political parties. No politics should be at here. Whatever has happened till Manmohan Singh, it should be history. But what we need to do is, with a task of comprehensive policy, with a great philosophical, strategical, all experts should be added together to for the future to strengthen the border. So we can go back to the history through blaming each other. We can't resolve the issue. So
Right.
the moment we are in the power, and we should trust Modi ji. He have got the sense of security. He have got the sense of integrity of this country. So I believe he will work out to resolve these issues in future.
As a representative of a frontline state, are you personally happy at the way the Ministry of External Affairs has viewed this particular problem?
See, External Affairs Ministry and Home Ministry with Honorable Modi ji also we have discussed that Arunachal is being claimed by the China, and we can't go to China because they do not issue official visas. They issue staple visas, whom the government of India is not allowing. As an Indian, we should go with a proper visa. So all these are the issues that External Affairs Ministry, Home Ministry, and Prime Minister, they are taking up this issue, and national security advisors, all from all front, they are taking up all these issues. But you need a positive response from Xi Jinping, from the Chinese government. If we are to be friendship, then it should be federal. It should not be one-sided. So this is the issue with the people of Ladakh, the people of Arunachal Pradesh, now Jammu Kashmir. We can go to China, so they are denying the regular official visa. They issue staple visa. All these issues are regularly taken up by the External Affairs Minister and the Home Ministry and Defense Ministry. All front, it is on the pipeline, but we are not getting positive response from the counterpart.
Okay, just last couple of questions. One is I'm broadly interested in what it means to represent a state that is as far as it is from Delhi, in not just in geographical terms, but in cultural and linguistic terms. What do you feel as someone who comes from that part of India?
Sir, you are most welcome to Arunachal Pradesh, one of the best Hindi speaking state in northeastern state is Arunachal Pradesh. And the people of Arunachal Pradesh will not greet you, good morning, sir, good evening, sir. Whosoever come, we greet with Joy Hind.
Okay.
This is the patriotic. And how come we inherit this Joy Hind? It's a history. It will go a long way, but the people of Arunachal Pradesh, not only Arunachal, Manipur, Nagaland, and other northeast states, we are getting good educations in the mainland. And today, after we came to power, aims like hospitals are being established in different part of the states and in every state, and all universities are coming up. So our from northeast, Arunachalis are the northeastern states who are competing Hindi people in Hindi interview.
I see.
And our boys and girls, they are doing MPhil and PhD in Hindi. So this is what the nationalism is well connected along the border. And if you visit Arunachal Pradesh, even the village people living who have never been to education institution, but they will speak Hindi to you.
Right. And final question, since you're talking to a large audience here in America, why
Yeah.
don't you tell me the three or four, five biggest strengths of that state that you think should bring more people to that part of the world?
Sir, during 14 Lok Sabha, I first became member of parliament. I have been to your America for 15 days. And when I have visited Switzerland during parliamentary delegations and all. In India, second to Jammu Kashmir is Arunachal Pradesh.
True.
Tawang, Mesuka, Anini, Walong. Now infrastructure, 2 lanes are coming up, and religious tourisms and eco-tourisms and raftings, everything is possible, and all kind of horticulture products are coming up in Arunachal Pradesh. All are organic. Now you can have religious tourisms. All my Indian peoples living in USA. So I request them, you can have a religious tourism, because Parshuram Kund, Arunachal peoples are not Hindu.
True.
They are indigenous.
Yeah.
But how come Parshuram Kund exists there, and the Hindu also believe that Parshuram Kund is the place where Parshuramji has passed his sin, and his acts was fixed on his hand, was fell on the Parshuram Kund. It's a hot water there. In Makar Sankranti, lakhs of peoples are coming up today. And another is Bismarck Nagar. We don't have historian in those days. Still the structures are there, and Bismarck Nagar's daughter Rukmini has been abducted by Krishna and halted at Malani Tan, or a place called Malani Tan, where Parvati was there. Krishna taken race there with Rukmini, and still you know the Nandi. In Arunachal Pradesh, how come a big Nandi could exist there in the jungle? All Mahabharats and Ramayans exist there, and one place called Jiro, 25 feet height sibling is there. Below the sibling, Ganesh statue is there. Behind the sibling, Parvati is there, and Kartikeya is also there. So now today it's a hot spot. And second to Lhasa, the oldest, more than 300-400 years old monastery is in Tawang.
Sure.
So all these are the places where, and in Mesuka, we have got Sikh religious gurus. Tarban is still in the rock, and his horse footprint is there. So Arunachal is unexplored. Ecotourism, we can extend there. Horticulture, agriculture, religious tourisms, huge. And whenever we talk of Northeast, of course, we have got elements who have got disturbed, but it's almost resolved. But Arunachal is a place where you won't get anything of such kinds. A place to be visit and to strengthen the heart of the people of Arunachal Pradesh.
That's wonderful. You sold it very well. I'm sure you'll begin to see some visitors coming in after what you described.
Yeah,
Before I let you go, Mr. Gao, one final thing I wanted to clarify in terms of travel restrictions. Say if
yeah,
someone is a US citizen is coming from here to visit you at some point when the
yeah,
pandemic
yeah.
has gone, what are the restrictions that they should expect?
No, actually, this is 1800 Bengal, Eastern Bengal, 1864 or 74 Act of British days that our peoples were barbarics. So people going inside, that reasons must have inner line pass.
Yeah,
And while entering the jungle Himalayas, your name should be entered there so that while coming back from there, you have to again enter that you came out with
right,
alive.
right.
So this practice is still there, but inner line pass is not an issue. All the Gate border between Assam and Arunachal, you can obtain it online. You can get it on the spot for 15 days, for 3 months. It's not an issue now.
Okay.
But for the foreigners, uh, restricted area permit. This is also from the British days. So restricted area permit has been liberalized. Anytime, any moment, the group of people can obtain the restricted area permit from the concerned authority, and no issue. All in every season, we have got the Russian, German, France, even Americans, UKs, all Australians. They have got from I think Oxford also, Cambridge also on travel studies. It's a classroom which is not going going to extinct very soon. So
Sure.
they can see the different culture. And the unique thing, Mayangji, Arunachal is having 26 major tribes, and we do not understand each other's dialects.
Whoa, really?
Mini India, culture is different, way of dressing is different. We have got Buddhists, we have got, my religion is Doni Polo, sun and moon. We believe in nature.
I see.
So Christian is also coming up. In Buddhist, Mahayana, Hinayana is there. And I forget to tell you one thing. Pema Koi,
Mhm.
the Buddhist believer, consider that Pema Koi is in Tuting, just periphery of the Brahmaputra Siang River in Arunachal Pradesh. In Buddhist belief, Pema Koi is the center of this planet, the holiest place on earth. So from Japan, from Southeast Asia, from all Tibet, and all Buddhist believers, they are rushing towards this Pema Koi at Tuting, and putting legs on that Pema Koi is the holiest thing that a Buddhist believers. It is in Arunachal Pradesh, sir.
On that wonderful note, Mr. Gao, I want to thank you for your time. You've been very generous. You're very quick to respond, and we will keep in touch because maybe at some point I'll retire in Arunachal Pradesh.
Yeah, I would like to see you, and whenever you plan,
I
you
would
give
be
me.
very happy to travel with you and do stories out of there.
Yeah, yeah. It's required every valley, every river, every mountain range of Arunachal Pradesh carries the history of before British
Right.
to today. So it's a library of the world, library
Absolutely.
of the planet on the religious point of view, on tourist, eco-tourism point of view, on human kind of race. Also, you can study. So it's an open library for whole of the world to see Arunachal Pradesh.
Done deal. I'll come down some point soon.
Okay.
Thank you. I want to thank you for your time again.